episode, but like it's much more fun to just say cha-ching.
Let's try it. Cha-ching? No.
Well, not after this.
Okay.
Cha-ching?
Cha-ching.
Like,
How does it sound?
check
Anything
out
like it?
these. I got 2 for $3. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
2 for $3.
How about anytime?
Just together.
Anytime anybody says cha-ching.
Yeah.
Naturally.
All right.
We should find a way to shoehorn cha-chings as many times as we can
And if I
into
make
this
any
cat
racial
soul.
slurs, you can just be like, oh, that's what she meant.
No, cha-ching. She said cha-ching.
Yeah.
Welcome. Zach.
The two of you.
That second time was a bit.
Nobody wants this. They want the show to start. Thank you.
Welcome to Pussy Boys, the only and therefore #1 podcast for real men who love their cats. My name is Nick Maritato, and my cat's name is Lily.
My name is Zach Broussard, and my fluffy little kitty is Mochi.
My name is Danny Solomon, and my fur bun is named Marv.
I'm Alice, and I'm alcoholic. My 2 cats are named Birdie and Biscuit.
Whoa!
First of all, that's a new voice.
That is a new voice.
That is uncomfortable for a lot of people sitting at home.
Yes.
who are
Especially
like,
the alcoholic part, because it's true.
It's true. You're listening to this podcast. How far have you sunk? But I like the idea that someone immediately assumed Adam was canceled
Yeah.
while on the road, and we just
Look, I've been
replaced
trying.
him with a woman, and that would be a good move.
It would be a good pivot. Not the case, though. Adam will be back, and in his place, our very first guest on Pussy Boys, Alice Wetterling.
And
Give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I thought we were going to do several cash registers in a row.
Just no applause sound. You know, guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited that I'm the first guest, and I feel like I've threatened you all with my friendship long enough that it's obvious that I'd be the first guest. And if I wasn't, I mean, I would have torn this place apart.
You
would have
would have
canceled all of you.
Yeah.
I would have found a way.
You have the
you
receipts.
will find a way.
You have
I
the
do.
receipts. This
I
is
was
how you
actually
get,
just
This is how you
on-
get on every podcast.
I got a new computer, so I'm going through old hard drives, and I have a bunch of Danny's old sets.
That'll
on
do
a
it.
hard drive.
That will
So
do
I'm like,
it.
well, that's 1 down, 3 to go. But I'm very glad to be here. And also crazy that your first guest is a lady person.
I know.
I mean, the guys listening to this must be furious.
They're
right now.
pissed.
They're
pissed.
all doing sets at big comedy
Yeah,
clubs right
every
now.
man
all
right
the,
now.
All the white male comedians we know were busy.
This is going to make more people move to Austin for sure.
Yeah, when Matt Rife turned us down, we could only then go to you.
Yeah.
Well, he's recovering from that face surgery.
Hey, Matt Rife, we all going to go see him at the Hollywood Bowl?
Oh, my God.
Dear God.
I'm
This
going to
isn't
wait
about
till he's at
cats.
the Sphere.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely want. I want 360 Ray.
Absolutely.
360 Rife and that chin just like on a
It's so
tire.
funny how he wants to be like the dude's comedian and he hasn't even figured out the pun of Rafe jokes. Like, what an idiot. Like, why is he so bad at this?
Well, it is Rife, but close enough.
you know
And-
what, Danny? Fuck off.
I think he looks like. I think Matt Rife looks like The Mask a little bit, right?
Definitely.
That's what's
More
going
and
on.
more each
but
day.
every person with a clefted shin also looks like the mask.
Excuse
I've always said that.
Excuse me.
Oh no!
Excuse me.
It was
Thank you.
it was hidden behind the
No, no.
mic when we were talking
Thank
about
you,
it.
though.
No, we're talking about like the mask cartoon for you, Alice. Like more svelte.
And it is kind of festive,
Yeah.
so I like that.
Now, Matt Rife, Take My Rife, please. Not
That's
his.
better.
Not his podcast.
Nope.
No,
Okay, well.
absolutely.
and not this podcast either. This is a podcast for real men
Oh wait, hold
who
on, hold
love
on.
their cats.
Hold on. That was for the Take My Rife, please.
Oh, that you had to add it.
Had to.
Now I'm just going to add this to my podcast feed, and I go to PUSSY.
Ooh.
Hate to tell you.
Oh boy. Yeah. First of all, let's you know what, Alice? Yeah, go ahead and do that first.
Okay, great. Ooh,
And
I
then
like
come back.
this.
Oh no, wait.
Ooh, I've
I
got
thought
to
you
go
were
to the
gonna-
bathroom.
Listen, if you like it, then you're not on the right podcast.
No, I think Alice has to pee really bad.
Oh, no. That's what they say all the
No.
time.
It could be
Zach,
a UTI. We got to
Zach,
let her
this
go
is
take care
important.
of this.
I've got to masturbate.
Wow. Oh my God.
This is too much for a lady person to speak to us this way. This is why we haven't had women on
This
the
is
show.
why we exclusively have men on the show. We try to keep it clean and a little classier.
Oh, okay.
I'm so
Sorry.
excited that you're here, Alice. Well, we've all been friends with you for too long?
Nigh
A lot
on 20 years.
Truly, I don't
Almost
want to
20,
think about how old
How
we
actually long it is.
And your cats have been around for that long. I mean, your cat, you were an OG cat
are.
owner.
OG cat head.
Yeah.
Before any of us before our cats were a glimmer in our eye.
And
Yeah.
I hope this sort of paints a picture to the listeners at home that while this is a podcast for real men who love their cats, this is not a toxic space that's only for men. This is for cat lovers of all shapes, sizes. Like Alice is really long. She's very tall.
Very tall. I'm a tall person, and that's fine.
We base it most on body shape, like whether or
Yeah.
not your shape,
Well,
sizes.
because of the chairs, they're weak. I've had cats for a really long time, as Danny said, and my cats are the kind of cats that when people are like, I don't really like cats, they meet my cats and they're like, well, this cat's pretty great. Biscuit is the one that really, I mean, he's a little whore. He really, really I used to live in this apartment complex that had a courtyard, and he would run up like a little dog to people. not like sniff, but like somebody would come through and he would like run up to them to say hello. And I was always like, yeah, Danny, like you gotta like cats. And I'd introduce Danny to Biscuit. He'd be like, I don't like when he comes near me. Like I can't believe even like Danny, like even Biscuit. And I'm so mad because like eventually now he's the most cat cucked person.
Well, now I'm the number one guy on this cat podcast.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's been a long journey. I really didn't like cats for a long time. I didn't trust them. There was a cat a long time ago when my mom was dating weird guys in Kansas City who had a cat. He brought it into our home when he was staying there. Its name was Peaches, and it was a piece of shit. She would hide under the bed, and then when you would go to try to communicate with her, she would slash at you.
I honestly, so as a guy who had divorced parents and moms who had a lot of fellas hanging out, I was like, why? I was like, why is this guy taking the cat to Danny, hang out with Danny's mom? And I was like, that's how long he's hanging out with Danny's mom.
Oh,
he
yeah.
physically had to take the cat.
I mean,
and you can notoriously leave cats alone for a long time. But that's how long he was in the bedroom with Danny's mom.
Oh yeah, he was embedded for, and this was just one of the guys. This was Tom. I can't even tell you about Tim.
Oh, God.
Tim was a completely different situation.
We've had some bizarro experienings. I had a Rod and a Todd in succession.
What,
and
the
I think
Simpsons,
we need to talk
the
about
Flanders
this more.
Sons? Wow, your mom
all
knew what she
grown
was
up.
doing.
Why
having
do I
fun with it.
always want to pivot to what the other shit that's going on in your guys' past?
Absolutely.
No.
Hold on.
We can't.
What was up with Tim that you can't tell us about Tim?
He stole my mom's credit cards. It's a whole thing.
Was he the guy with the
my
Dean
dad
Koontz?
had a wife who stole his credit
That
cards.
was a different guy as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, listen to my album. It's called Genius. It's great, and it is available on all platforms. And you can hop into the story about Bob's novel. That's what his name was Bob.
By the way, Tina stole my dad's credit card.
Come on, what
This
is with
too-
these
This is insane.
gullible parents?
I think it's Kansas and
Yeah,
Louisiana.
Oh, right. We're from the dirtball parts
Yeah,
of the
that's
country.
the worst.
Nobody would ever step foot in if they could choose
If
to.
those two states had a baby, it would be Florida.
Wow.
No
And you
offense.
know what?
No offense. Oh, total offense.
No, that's nice. I think Louisiana is the only state that would be proud of a child like Florida.
That it's not infertile.
Life, you get to live by the beach, man. That's so nice.
Well, I guess we should probably just do our first. What is it? A segment?
We got to get into This Week in Cat. Marv, he is, I think all of our cats are collared, right?
No.
You go collarless?
Naked. We go naked.
We go
So-
raw cat.
My cat's raw dogging it right now as well. So.
I did not know this world. I thought cats needed collars. I especially thought Marv, because he was an indoor-outdoor cat.
Marv
for a while.
needs a
He was a
collar.
fully outdoor cat. He can't be trusted. So we had a collar. I got it engraved with our phone numbers on it. It also has his middle name, as we all know. It's Marv Patrick Mahomes Solomon. And he had that collar on for the entirety of our time with him, 5 years. He's been like scratching his neck and he was just kind of like getting a little bit too busy with
Gotta
it.
tighten that collar.
We looked underneath and he's got this whole ring now where the fur has separated. It's kind of he's lost a little fur.
Boo.
It's
Damn,
sad.
man.
So we were like, this guy's collar is really bothering him. It's probably not a very good quality collar. So he is now collarless. We've uncollared him, and we are planning on getting him a new collar for Christmas. Natalie, my wife, just purchased this collar. It is crushed velvet with a little bow tie.
Wow.
Now, is this
that
a
rocks.
sponsored post?
Wait a minute. So your cat, Marv, will be basically in a tuxedo just all day, every day.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's a little Chippendales cat. If he chooses to wear this collar, I think we should allow him the choice
Yeah.
to see if he wants to go back to the collared lifestyle. But if he does, the bow tie on the collar detaches, so we can put his regular.
So he can be black tie for dinner.
I also like that's part of the dance. It's a Chippendale. You got to remove the bow tie, but
Right.
the collar stays.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm pretty certain that the moment that tie gets in front of him, he is going to start biting at it and
Yeah.
losing his shit. But it's also possible that he just embraces the lifestyle of being a sexy male cat.
What
Start
was it like?
smoking a pipe.
Like smoking some kind of pipe.
It is the
Hey.
That
exact
goddamn
color.
fucking bow tie on him all day long.
It's the exact color of Hef's robes.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a Hefner situation.
So,
she had it dyed.
Dan, do you feel bad that you tortured Marv like that with the collar for so long?
That's really why I thought this would be a good This Week in Cat, because I didn't realize how many of us aren't collaring our cats, and I guess I feel bad about it now, but also he never expressed any real discomfort.
Well, they don't
for
know how
a
to
long
talk,
time.
Danny.
He didn't
haven't
use
gotten to
his he didn't use his paw language to tell me that there was a big problem.
I want to say though that of all of our cats here, Marv needs to be collared.
That's the thing, is like if we lose him, we don't have any recourse.
Every
you would have a
episode you
micro-
talk about Marv
you
just
can't
trying to make a run for it.
get him microchipped.
We could get him re-chipped, I
I think
guess.
you should do that instead
But
of the collar.
I thought the collar was good. I thought he didn't care. He liked it. Every time we would take the collar off.
Well, he actually texted me that he did care.
I did tell him to stop texting
Years
you. I
ago.
feel like your guys' relationship
Years
is
ago.
a little weird.
It was,
Natalie thinks it's weird too.
and she does. That's weird because she texted me that she does.
Danny really wants his phone back, and I think that's really what it is. Marv
People
is such
keep
an
saying
I
Oh,
keep
yeah.
getting Marv new burner phones every year for Hanukkah.
Marv strikes me as a cat that's definitely got a beeper.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
got
like
a,
he finds
Yeah.
it.
Well, he's
under
old
the
enough.
couch. There's a big pile of burner phones.
Marv definitely sold high-grade cocaine
Yeah.
before he wound up in
He's
in
the one who
y'all's
diluted
arms.
it.
That's right.
With urine.
Marv is, so how old are Biscuit and Birdie now? Marv is 10, I think. And so he's maybe not pre-internet, but like
Yeah.
Facebook maybe?
Yeah.
It's a
yeah.
MySpace cat.
Well,
Yeah.
mine are 14 years
Damn.
old.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah.
That's an age.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
got them
an age.
at the same time.
I
and they
haven't
were
seen them in so long.
they were 3 months old. I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you cats it once or twice.
I would catch it,
didn't
but
you?
I was doing a lot of medicine runs every now and then.
That's
we
right.
were, for the folks at home, Alice and I lived across the street
from each
for,
other.
for
Right.
a couple years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to have a go-to. when we
Rodney.
needed- On Rodney. We don't want to give too many details.
Hey.
Right. Well, it's a former place.
I don't want to get. I don't want to dox the people that live there now.
That's true.
Yeah. People want to be around the people that live in the places we were. You know,
There's a
Is
whole
anything-
train of
Yeah.
people following us. Yeah, but I've also, I briefly played a little bit on the Biscuits baseball team,
Yes, that's
named
true.
after your kitty cat. So
Right.
like I understand. There's a lot of lore based on Biscuit.
There's a
that I love.
ton of Biscuit lore. And now I stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Fridays, and I've figured out a way, thank you, to monetize
This is what I was kind of hoping for.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
owning cats. And because like I'll stream and you can see me and you can see the game, but there's a little cat cam and they just sit. They usually do sit. I think they like being in front of the warmth of their own little ring light, and they just sit there.
Oh, incredible.
And so sometimes I'll be like, if somebody subscribes in the next 15 minutes, I'll go pet them or whatever. Yesterday it was like, if somebody subscribes, I'll go. They were like sleeping, like hugging each other, and I was like, I'll go put my hand right in between them, and I'll tell them it's from you. And somebody subscribed, and I was like, this is Van Halen whiskey or whatever.
Does this kind of feel like OnlyFans to
It
anyone
is.
else?
Yeah. Well, my podcast is called Mostly Fans.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I'm sexy, I guess, is the deal with that.
It's a podcast.
But they're
most people can't see that.
They're 14. I'm topless. So they're the cats are 14. So and they're never gonna die, which is great. And if they do, I'll just die too. It'll be fine. I haven't dealt with that at all. Biscuit.
I love imagining a murder-suicide situation.
Absolutely take my life. But Biscuit has always been sick. He's never been a healthy cat. He's always been. When I first got Biscuit, he was 3 months old, and I was in the cat shelter to adopt a different cat. And the cat was getting spayed or neutered or whatever, and they were like, he won't be here for a while. You can't visit him yet. And
Cat's out getting a tattoo.
Exactly.
It's just not a good
like,
time.
why is he not here? Where is he? Like,
Hold on. Hey,
don't worry
that
about
lady's
it.
here
Don't worry
wants to
about it.
adopt the cat. Where is that cat?
And they're
I
like
don't
reaching
fucking
around for
know.
similar cats. So
Was it a gray one or a gray one? Shit, where'd all the other colored cats go?
So this lady walks in, and she's got Biscuit like on her shoulder, and she just walks in and she's like, hey, I wanted to like drop off this cat, but nobody was answering the back door. Like, is it okay if I bring him in? And they're like, wait in the lobby. And I look at her, and she's like, and he's so cute, and he's like cuddling up, and then he just goes, like he sneezes, and it's just like, oh my God, what is this angel? And she's like, yeah, he just wandered into my office, and like we can't obviously have cats, and I can't have them, so
I'm a veterinarian.
yeah. My office is a different cat shelter. And she's like, well, they're like, okay, well, you'll have to foster him because we can't take any more cats. And if he has a cold, like we have to quarantine him. So we're going to have to find a foster right away. And in my memory, this is probably not what happened. Everybody like looks at me, you know? But I was like, yeah, I'll take him. It's great. And he came home with me that night. And at the time I was married to a comedian, who's not very good. You shouldn't look him up. But
That's for your marriage.
yeah, exactly. And that is how it was. So, and then he like, we couldn't find him the first night. He like disappeared, and we're looking everywhere. And then we like finally opened the coat closet, and we're like looking under the shoes and stuff. And he's up on the shelf, and he's somehow wrapped in like a mitten. And he's like, "Achoo!" And he's like the fucking cutest cat in the world. And he's still that cute.
And they
to
were
this
like,
day.
thank God we got rid of that cat with sickle cell anemia.
Yeah, that original
It costs
cat.
about $25,000 a month.
R.I.P.
I don't even remember that cat. Hope he's not okay.
I
You know?
doubt it. It was a kill shelter, right?
Oh,
boy.
God.
We can't say that. We're not allowed to say that.
This dances
It was a
us
kill
into the
shelter, but it
topic
kills
of the
people
week.
who are mean to cats.
That's the kind of kill
It's
shelter
like
this show can get
Assassin's
behind.
Creed shelter.
We love that.
That's an all Z's idea.
Yeah.
I think we got to bring that on the pod.
Let's start killing people.
That's right.
What if that's what this is?
You have to edit
All
out
right.
some
We were
of
wondering
these.
where this podcast was going.
Well, we found it. Well, listen, that actually does bring us, weirdly enough, to today's topic. I don't know how was this a joke topic that Danny just was like, I'll do that one?
I was so ready to do this one. I soft pitched it to you guys as a group of different topics that we might be able to do today. And this was the one that was responded to, I think, maybe by Zach only. I don't think anyone else spoke up.
I love it. I think these are the topics that we really excel in.
Yes.
Big picture cat conversations. Every website on the internet is telling you what to do when a cat has like an itch under his collar.
Right.
We don't need to talk about
Also,
it.
Well, maybe we should talk about don't collar your cats too
Yeah, you don't
tightly.
need to
Yeah,
do
we-
that.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
we-
too tight. I just
was
want to point
super
that
tight.
out.
We definitely have to double back.
Now, I
to
will
that,
say
Dan.
it's the only way Marv can come. So.
Yeah, Marv, you got to just,
He kept putting it on himself.
He seemed sad when he didn't have the collar on because I felt
'Cause he
like
couldn't come.
he wanted a family. Thank you.
There are people outside cheering.
They get it.
You know, today
This podcast is being broadcast to the Burger Place.
Yeah, there's a giant screen outside.
Today, our topic is cat souls. Because we've already done cat food. And we are fucking running out of topics.
There's so much on the bone here.
Well,
You
I
guys
will
won't
say,
believe it.
I'm excited because I also agree. I think this podcast will only get better the weirder it gets. And
Yeah.
this will be episode 1 of 12 soul-based episodes.
right.
Yeah.
This is why
Yeah.
all the other cat podcasts have failed. And I'm going to just say that even
They're
though I
not
haven't
willing to go
researched
into
it. They're all doing things like, oh, what kind of blanket should I get my cat? Fuck that. We want to find out, do cats have a soul? Let's get into
And
it.
if so, what kind of blanket does his soul want?
Yeah, really. Is it a quilt? It better be a quilt.
Because it's got a soul.
Cat souls, when you first said it, I laughed. I really did, Dan. I go, what the hell are we going to talk about? I mean, we'll talk about cat souls for 18 seconds, and then we'll start talking about, like, I don't know, Persian soul singers or something. Like, we'll move on to something else.
You have no vision, Nick. I've always said that about you.
But then I looked at your rundown, and God damn it, if you didn't do the best research in the game.
And
Give it
I'll
up for
do
this
it.
guy.
Every time for you out there, I will do this. I will sit in my bedroom and look up cat soul on Google and find what I can find for you.
I assume you are laying on your belly and your legs are kind of kicked up, and
Yes.
your little
Right.
Chromebook is
And
right
I got
there.
a
Mark's got his
dream
collar
phone.
real tight, and he's trying to really go for it.
Yeah.
He needs to be collared.
All right. We'll do cat
Yikes.
collars one day, and we'll really fucking get in that
Yeah,
ass,
do
Danny
collars.
Solomon.
I can't believe we haven't done collar. We're doing
We're
souls
doing souls before
collar.
collars? Wait a minute. Should this be cat collars?
It's souls are a bigger deal than collars.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Souls.
We're
When
tackling
we
the big
figure
ones.
this out, we're gonna dictate collars. It's gonna dictate everything.
I agree.
It's a
I like that.
foundational topic.
It
that
is.
solves everything else.
Well, you know what, Danny? Prove the world wrong.
And kick this off. Here's how I'm going to kick it off. This is going to get existential immediately and then go more micro, but I just want to know from each of you, what do you define a soul to be?
Whoa.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm excited about this topic, because it really gets into big picture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that a soul is, I guess what we're going to say, like a life force beyond just the actual like cell nature, something beyond,
Like-
a metaphysical presence that exists within us,
The beyond the meat bag that we all are.
and something that can continue afterward, maybe existed before the meat bag.
Right.
And is it in its? Are
It's in
you
the
Zach
sack.
Broussard?
It's in the sack.
Are you guys yourselves
Right,
as
that's
the
a big-
soul?
yes, that's
or
the next
are you
question.
just, you are a grouping of, metaphysical components that are then redistributed into many different cats, perhaps?
For no reason at all, I think someone else should go first.
Well, Zach is poorly educated. So, yeah, Nick, what do
Louisiana
you
public
think?
schools.
What
Why
do
would
I-
I answer?
What do I think soul is? Oh. Let me tell you.
Do you know the lyric? I was just Wikipediaing. I was gonna say no, we don't have souls, and then I was on my way over here, and I just for some reason have "Walkin' in Memphis" by Mark Cohn in my
Yeah.
head,
Of course.
and then I Wikipedia, and I will talk about this on Mostly Fans in an extended way if you want to subscribe. Why am I looking at the camera? No one's watching. So
I actually want to say it. I think this is the part that this is the only part people watch.
okay,
Yeah.
great.
I don't know if anyone listens
Well,
to the
I think they'll
podcast.
tune
find
in for
out.
1 second to be like, "Is she topless?" And then
That's true. We should maybe lead with that.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, we're all topless.
Welcome, topless, Alice Wetterland. So the lyrics are like, one of the lyrics is like, Muriel plays piano every Friday at the Hollywood. I'm like, what is that about? Who's Muriel? Because I've never heard of Muriel. It's this Muriel Davis Wilkins person who used to play at this little dive bar and
Called the Hollywood.
called the Hollywood. It's no longer around. But it was in Memphis, and she was a school teacher, and she would play piano. And then Mark Cohn would visit her in between sets because people were just kind of sporadically paying attention. And he told her about how he lost his mom when he was 2 years old, and that was like a foundational thing in his life, and he'd never really been able to work past it. And then they sang songs on stage, and the last song they sang was Amazing Grace, and she leaned over and whispered in his ear, "You can let go now, child." And it just, I was like fully sobbing in my Uber over here. And I was like, oh, I guess we have souls. Like, I think that, I'll go first. I think that we don't have souls in the sense that, like, there's something that's going to continue after or started before. I think there is a life force that you can tap into. For me, spirituality is just tapping into something bigger than me, right? So, like, I think I have the capacity to do that, whereas cats don't. But they don't need it.
Well,
They're like, who cares? But they don't have it. They don't not have something that I do besides the like my sad human need for connection.
Well, I think that it's clear from each of our cats that they have individual personalities, which means that they have individual selves, which, that means that whatever we're tapped into, they should be able to tap into that too. because otherwise they would just be kind of like, just meat for us
Right.
to eat.
But I don't think they have. I think for me, like spirituality, this is so rad. This is a great podcast. You have to tune in right now to the podcast you're already listening to.
Turn us on.
We're all topless, and we're talking about
So-
metaphysics.
If you like have an ego, for me, the ego is the thing that hinders spirituality. And I think cats don't have ego. So in essence, like they maybe have more of that
They're a
soul
pure
life
essence.
force than humans do.
Because
And
they're living a pure version of
And
existence.
one of the things, I've had pets die before. I had a cat die before I owned Biscuit and Birdie, and I do own them. And I remind them. But it was awful. Like, I was really sad. Sparkles, I don't even remember Sparkles.
I do remember Sparkles in
He
New
was-
York.
Yeah.
For
Oh yeah.
one
Yeah. Right.
year he lived with me, or she. And, like, it was literally a year. But I was so distraught when she died. But what really comforted me a lot is that, like, animals don't have the same ideas about death that we do at all. They're not afraid in the same way. They have survival mentality, but they don't have the attachment to, like, my life and, like, that we do. It's not the same. Like, we don't know what it is, but it's just not. We can't apply and anthropomorphize that. We would to our detriment.
I'm curious about that because how do we know that at all? I mean, I don't really know what Marv's thinking. He could be just as afraid of dying as I am every single day.
Well, he
I
doesn't
think
act
he is,
like
but
that.
he's primal. I think that's like there's
Yeah.
no second level of thinking about like why am I afraid?
Yeah.
But then some cat researchers say that cats get stressed. Like
Yeah.
when the cat scratches the couch, it means he's stressed.
But it's not.
What
he's
is that?
not
Where does that come
stressed
from?
about his legacy in comedy.
Yeah, it's not like neurotic.
Well, I'm not
thing.
either. I quit.
Am I going to be one of the greats?
Exactly.
I hope I'm one of the greats.
Exactly.
First off, Marv knows he's one of the great cats of all time.
But every cat knows they're one of the great cats of all
and
time.
that, I feel like that is the glimmer of a personality. Maybe it's not to our level because they're so dumb, comparatively. They have such small brains, as we discussed on the mind of a cat.
Well, Lily said it's pretty big.
But it's sort of like
I don't want to reopen.
I think
that,
that
but-
ignorance is bliss. That I think that because they have smaller brains, they're probably living a better life. Than we are.
Easily, all animals
But I
are
do
living a
think
better life.
the question we should answer first is if we think that humans have souls.
Okay.
And
All right.
then maybe the second one was like, okay, now
Yeah.
cats.
Let's just go down the line. Quick, yes, no.
Well, it depends on.
Nope. Yeah, quick
Uh-oh.
yes, no. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
Hey, Danny, that cost you $0.25 for touching that pad. You know that,
That is
right?
the first time I've tried to touch that.
Yeah. And that was $0.25. Touch another one, we'll see.
I was gonna bring
That's
my own.
$1.
Oh,
That's $1.
it's exponential.
I think it cannot be known, obviously, but I'm gonna just for the sake. I think there's gonna be a couple no's here. I'm gonna say yes.
That
We
humans
do
have
Human.
souls?
This is about
have
human souls. Yeah.
Men
That's a
have
soul
souls.
cook. Men have souls.
Are we asking whether or not there's an afterlife? Is that how
That's
we are?
later, actually. I
But
do want to get into
That's
that.
later.
There is
the
po-
actual afterlife. Yes.
I want to talk about the logistics of the afterlife at some point.
I think if there is a soul, then the soul. The reason why we think there's a soul is because there's somewhere for you to go after you're dead.
As
right?
like a constructed version of yourself.
Yes.
That's like,
like a-
transposed onto another plane of
like
existence.
you
Right.
know you choke on a cheeseburger and then you wake up and you're like, I'm dead. No, but then like you float out and you see your big fat dong and you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
Well, we've
can't-
seen every cartoon. That's
I'm
always
floating
what
to
it is.
heaven with that big fat dong.
Yeah,
That's
I gotta
all I could
keep
ask
that.
for.
Huh.
But so I guess you're really asking me whether or not if I believe in an afterlife, and at this point in my life, I do. So I do think that there's a soul. Do I ever really intellectualize what I think that is? Honestly, when I think about it, it's like a translucent me.
Yeah.
Like in a movie.
Like in cartoons.
Right. When you leave or you're a ghost, it's kind of like you can kind of see through me. And I'm even wearing like a hat.
And there is evidence for that. People say they have out-of-body experiences. That's probably exactly what that looks like.
Right. And in
Yeah.
my mind, like your soul or whatever that is what you're sort of looking down at your body in those like weird.
Now,
you know,
sidebar:
post-
the transparent ghost idea is a newish idea, and it happened around the invention of photography.
Is that true?
Yes, because people would see ghosts in the photographs, and it was like after images, and they were like, "That's a ghost," and that's why ghosts started being translucent.
And they were fully solid before
yeah,
that.
yeah.
This is the kind of shit Adam Newman would never be able to
I
provide.
kind of
No,
I
he'd be
kinda
like,
hope he gets
Most with the
canceled on the road.
most. My
Yeah.
baby's
He'd
great.
be like, soul rhymes with hole.
all right, easy, because he will listen to this.
I
He
know.
has
That's
to,
why we're saying it.
and he'll be upset. He will be upset if
We
we're not
love
just
you, Adam.
praising him.
Thank you for making the video.
He is not kicked off this podcast.
He's not kicked off.
You're the best.
I
Don't
have to
worry,
say,
Adam.
Adam is an essential part of the show to me.
Yes.
Oh, without
I
a
wouldn't
doubt.
listen
Yeah.
to this shit without Adam.
No, I agree.
And you can take that to the bank.
We may be replacing Adam. Adam has never worked so well with the sound pad drops,
He points in the other direction.
and he bristles.
Yeah, he's scared of them.
I think there's an element to the soul conversation that is, because we'll never know. It is like religion in general. It is just purely salve for your
Yeah.
own brain. It's just comforting. And I think because the mortal coil sucks.
Yeah.
And so I think that the image of an afterlife
Yeah.
is a comforting image for us in the same way that we talk about the cat conversation and the cat soul conversation. It is very much projection
Yeah.
from pet owners hoping for another
Hoping
thing.
there's a way to revisit your best friend in some other plane.
Which I love. And I will say that,
Instead of make a new best friend like you should.
and
should
because I
really.
think
Get a
we
new
can
cat.
never know, I'd rather lie to myself in a positive direction.
Absolutely.
Why not? Who cares?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm
the
gonna
things that I know for a fact are such a bummer
Yes.
that the things that I don't know for a fact, I'm going to just give myself a win on.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do what the assignment was and say no soul,
Dang.
High five. No soul.
no soul squad.
I've had pets before my cat Lily. I guess we're all like family pets before Lily. I
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
owned.
right.
We fostered some cats in New York for a little bit, but we didn't own them. Like I own that little stinker over there in the. Oh, she made a move.
She's
moved.
fine with
That
it.
was really cute.
Now, all of those family pets who have passed, I never thought of them being in like doggy heaven or anything like that.
This is a great question too that you guys have just kind of inadvertently put into my head. If you think that animals do have a soul, then is owning them wrong?
No, they need our help. They need our help.
So that's what it is. It's like we're being good to them by sheltering them and giving them food at 4 p.m.
It's a
every day.
partnership. We get.
Yeah. It's
And
it's-
cleaning their shit.
The ownership thing is only just so you can be like, yeah, pick him up at the vet.
So do you think you own your cat, or do you
'Cause-
think your cat and you live together?
Oh, my cat and I live together. And then there's Birdie, who we both own. Every day. Owned.
I pwned my cat.
I pwn him so hard.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, bitch. Can you pwn somebody in that? I don't even know. So yeah, I think that. What was your question? Whether or
Do
not
you own Lily, or does
I
she
own
just
my-
live
yeah, I
with
own my
you and
fucking
Ashley?
cat? We bought her basically. Like it cost us $75 to like get her shots done. Or
See,
whatever it
Marv
was.
just showed up. We paid for him to get some medical work, but we didn't pay for him.
right because he just showed up at your doorstep.
Right.
We had to go to like a little place.
But you take ownership for him, and if Marv did something terrible, like got caught looking at something illegal on the internet, how to make a bomb or something,
Yeah.
you're responsible.
Yes, Marv looked
Yeah.
that up.
Well,
Just want to make that clear.
We call it owner, but it's closer in relationship to parent,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it's your forever parent. They never grow up type thing.
And I will say this is my argument to why I will never get a dog, because dogs are so much like
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, but you had a child, so.
But a child will grow out of it.
That's true.
And my main thing is like I'm gonna have
I
to pick up
didn't,
this
but-
dog shit forever, and that's just permanent.
Yeah.
Where it's like I gotta wipe the butt for a few years, but the kid is like then gonna learn how to talk. A dog
and
will
wipe
never.
his own butt.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And then he'll get old. He'll get older as I get really old. He'll wipe my butt.
Oh my
A
god.
dog will never do that.
That's the
The
exchange.
circle is closed.
So Zach, are you going on record on this podcast and saying that babies are better than dogs?
Oh, without a doubt.
hell
Love it.
yeah!
That's
And I will
huge.
say, a later podcast, I'll judge babies to cats.
I
think
thought
that's
it was
a big review.
clearly, you had said this on previous shows, cat, baby, dog.
I think that's
was the
probably
hierarchy.
right now. That is the case. I will say that if my relationship with my son becomes more rewarding, that's really up to you, Pep. If you're listening to this,
10 years from now,
it's
20
sort of
years
on
from
you.
now.
Yeah, when you find find the hard drive of my
Underneath the rubble that
Labeled
was Los
embarrassing
Angeles.
point where
files.
he turns it off and turns to his therapist and he's like, "Do you see what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
Have you played Pussy Boys for your son yet? Like just out in the room?
I feel like it
Has
would
he-
be calming.
It's the first time this week that Mary mentioned Pussy Boys in conversation, and I went, "Hey, not in front of the boy," because I was like, "This is gross. You can't say that."
It actually, sidebar, we'll just call those. those. It cost me a job. My buddy Barry, who has gotten me jobs in the past and like this commercial stuff that he does, he had booked me for one about a month ago. Well-paying gig. It was fun. It was easy. Did it in like a few hours. He told me when I saw him the other day that he was going to book me for another one, but they were like, I don't know. There's something controversial on his Instagram. It's like pussy something. And so I got canned.
I do think that is
my
something that we have to accept
God.
as a reality. Unfortunately, that is going to happen.
Huge.
I
It's cost me
fucking
real
love
money.
it.
It's got to. Hopefully, it makes me 10 times.
I
that
love
amount
it.
at some point. Let's talk about the afterlife now, because this is a good enough way to get into it. We're talking about being with our cats for their entire lives. Would you want to see your cat in the afterlife? I think that's an easy question, but like, how do you imagine it would happen? Like, it's going to be 40 years
Yeah.
or so after your cat has passed that you're going to see
Yeah.
him or her. And in the meantime, you might have gotten one or more other cats
Right.
who have also maybe passed. That'll be awkward. And then also, like, doesn't your cat maybe want to be in an all cat heaven where it doesn't have to subscribe to the rules of your heaven?
Well, this actually brings up.
Even Danny knew that his tone was maybe 2 notches too serious for this.
2 notches to
I'm fucking
ESPN.
very serious about this topic.
I think this brings up sort of a thing that I was maybe going to bring up later. But are you guys
It
familiar?
brings up a thing that you might bring up later. Well, then bring it up now.
Yeah, you can bring it up
Is
anytime
it
you
okay
want.
that I bring this up?
Please
Yeah,
do.
bring it up.
Are you guys familiar with the Rainbow Bridge?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
You are. Okay. Well, that's basically the vision, is that this is a world where your cats, it's heaven adjacent.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a
Right.
little door at the Rainbow Bridge that just, like, you can kind of peek in from
Oh,
heaven. But,
love
like,
it.
they're waiting
I was-
there
wait,
on
I was
your way to
thinking of the
heaven.
Mario Kart
And I think you
level.
take them in.
I really was. Is that there's a rainbow bridge that's not Mario Kart?
There's a Rainbow Bridge that is, and there's a whole poem that,
Oh, read that shit.
it's a little long, but it's really
You
You're
know
going to want to
funny.
score this.
Yeah, seriously, you're gonna have to read it. And then
And Adam, if you just want to put on some really sweet music underneath this, okay.
I edit the podcast, not Adam.
But really, let's be honest. It's the ghost style. There's an invisible hands that
And
are
he's
guiding.
translucent.
I wish that was true, but I'm just here for hours.
Adam is
Ready?
here in spirit.
Ladies and gentlemen, from rainbowbridge.com. Just this side of heaven is a place called Rainbow Bridge. When an animal dies that has been especially close to someone here, that pet goes to Rainbow Bridge. There's a meadow, and the hills are there for our special friends so they can run and play together. There's plenty of food, water, and sunshine, and our friends are warm and comfortable. All the animals who had been ill and old are restored to health and vigor. Those who were hurt or maimed are made whole and strong again, just as we remember them in our dreams of days and times gone by. The animals are happy and content, except for one small thing. They each miss someone very special to them.
I thought the one small thing.
Who had to be left behind. They all run and play together, but the day comes when one suddenly stops and looks into the distance. His bright eyes are intent. I don't like that it's a he. Their bright eyes are
Registered.
intense. I'm going to fix that.
All right, real ally.
Their eager body quivers. Suddenly, they begin to run from the group, flying over the green grass, their legs carrying them faster and faster. You have been spotted, and when you and your special friend finally meet, you cling together in joyous reunion, never to be parted again. The happy kisses rain upon your face. Your hands again caress the beloved head, and you look once more into the trusting eyes of your pet, so long gone from your life, but never absent from your heart. Then you cross the Rainbow Bridge together, and presumably to hell, which I think is
Yeah,
fun.
that's where the Rainbow Bridge leads.
That makes sense.
I
that a
could not
poem?
agree more. It's prose.
Yeah, I guess it's not really. It's
First of all,
It's a
it's
poem.
prose.
I'm like, where's all
It's
the
very
freaking
funny.
rhyming
Where's
words?
the-
it was referred to as a poem, but it's prose.
Where's the metric? Okay. Also,
The
it's so
metric, the meter is-
dog-centric. Obviously about
I
a
was
dog.
gonna say
Yeah.
that
This
this
is
is
not a
dogs.
tortoise.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
cats are there.
you know?
Happy kisses and running through a meadow.
They're
Mark
licking your
fucking
face.
hates meadows.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that the cats, if they're there, they're just sort of like rummaging through garbage.
Yeah, they should be like around in heaven, like hanging out on like a high up cloud or something, or sitting on Ben Franklin's lap.
Did you get this from grunge.com, Zach? Just a quick question.
I have gotten a lot of my information from grunge.com, but this one actually came from a respectable site called Quora.
How pissed is Pearl Jam that that weird website is grunge.com?
Oh,
You
my
think
God.
They're like, God damn it.
These fuckers.
That's a callback to Halloween.
I could probably read that poem over some Pearl Jam backing.
Yeah.
We should have
that.
And then you walk together to the rainbow.
And a rainbow
So-
bridge.
There is a concept. First of all, I don't like the fact that like only pets that were pets and other animals don't get to go to Rainbow Bridge Heaven. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
if
you.
you're a stray,
Yeah,
get in the back of the line. with
exactly. Go to
Satan.
purgatory forever. But I will say, this is something that they say. I actually don't think it's a saying, but I heard this through a person in recovery. That this is one of my favorite recovery sayings. We are God's cat videos. So, like in recovery, it's generally advisable that you believe in some kind of God, because people in recovery are generally such narcissistic assholes that they have to make everything about themselves. So, through the idea of God or a higher power, you kind of like, you're like, oh right, other things besides me. Anyway. But the idea is that like you think stuff in your life is so important and you're like freaking out. And then you have this connection with a higher power and the higher power is looking at you like, oh my God, it thinks that thing is so important. It's so stupid. It doesn't realize it's fine. It's taken care of. It's well, there's a sunny spot. And so like, I love that phrase. And I think that would be my takeaway. That has not answered a single question of Danny, but it is more profound than anything Danny
You
could
know
say.
what I will say? It's made me think that we don't have souls.
Yeah.
But it's kind of more beautiful that we're just here. We just like cross paths with these freaky little furry buds.
How
How sweet
amazing
is
is
that?
that?
And save their lives, and then they save ours.
Oh,
Yeah.
who rescued
who?
Who rescued who? Tim Allen.
I do like that this podcast is like our little yarn ball that we're knocking around, and God's laughing at us because you know.
I think a lot
Exactly.
of people are laughing at us.
Yeah. I think that's the point. I also just to shoehorn in, there are other religions, obviously, and Egypt is famous for their burying cats with human beings, mummifying
Genius.
cats.
Love that.
And the idea was, I have it down here, people dedicated their mummified cats at the sanctuary of the cat goddess Bastet as offerings. The sanctuary was located in the city of Bubastis, where the remains of numerous cat mummies and small cat sculptures have been found. And the belief was that by placing cats and their owners in the same tomb, the pair could remain together for all time.
No,
So bury yourself with your cat.
I've never
See what
seen
happens.
a cat mummy. Has anyone seen a cat
I got one
mummy?
right here.
Well,
and
I mean, but like, have you ever gone to
looking
a
at it.
museum
No.
bam.
and seen a cat mummy? Well, that's
No,
obviously
It looks like a pupa.
Yeah.
See, to
it
me-
looks weird. I thought that was a potato until
could
we
be
started
it.
recording.
It
and
looks like a
Danny
big
told
long
me.
I
yam.
mean, it's
Yeah.
delicious either
Does
way.
look
But
like
Sure.
but I was thinking like, you never see you see mummified humans in like anthropology museums, etc. Right? Like, do you think there's like a cat museum where cats go to look at cat art, and then there's also like a museum like with cat mummies, and they're like, wow.
What a great way to come back to the original topic, which is, do cats have a soul? Can cats appreciate art? Can
Yeah.
they appreciate aesthetic things? Do they have like a
I do
depth
think there's
of
so
some
many
kind?
different definitions of a soul.
Yeah.
And I think that is
Our task tonight
wow.
in hour 2.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out who's got so.
Well, that
You can't bail.
So you think that like being able to appreciate art is indicative of having a
like,
soul?
like Zach said, it's one definition, but it is something to think about with cats. Like, we think of them as, what they are. They're our little buddies, and they
Yeah.
like to knock around little twist ties and stuff around the kitchen. But maybe they're like seeing something that we're not seeing. They do
Yeah.
have a lot of extra rods and cones and shit, and there's some connection to the paranormal, which we talked about with cats on the Halloween
I'm a
episode.
little sensitive when you just start yelling the name Rod around.
Right,
Let's
right,
establish
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Rod and
But
Todd.
I
You
think
don't want to
that,
summon him.
Our rods and Tods
Rods and
that we
Tods.
see out of.
Oh man.
I haven't even met the guy Cone, but I think I have an idea what he did.
I'll tell you what. I'll say this right now, and we're not going to start it for a while, but our Patreon is going to be off the hook. You're going to hear all about Rod. You're going to be hearing all about Tim.
We'll
and
talk
the credit
about
card, what he spent
Pussy
those
Boys
credit
Rod
cards.
Squad.
We'll talk about what turned us into the monsters
I
that we
will
are. Hit
be
that
topless.
cash register
Yeah,
sound.
Alice will be topless, not on the pod, just at her home.
At my home, and it'll be somehow on the Patreon, but not on it.
I want to say that cats experience leisure. And that is maybe indicative of something.
And they have independence. And that's the biggest thing about cats is that they don't need us. I mean, they could use us, but they feel like in some ways that they're our parents.
There's agency that is.
Right.
I don't know if I would attribute to like a bird. That it just seems like they're just like on a path.
Okay,
Right.
so this was my question from before. Are we all saying right now that we do think that cats have souls?
If we have
If
souls.
we have souls, cats have souls.
Yeah.
So
But
It's good
we
for
won't
me.
answer the first thing.
No, we both did.
Okay.
We're the No Soul Squad.
We believe that no one has a soul.
Yeah.
And
I think I've come
therefore-
across. I think I was on the spot, and I feel like as a good Southern
Yeah.
former Catholic, I had to do the pro soul thing.
Mhm. But
now
now
that I've talked about it, I think that it's more beautiful to think that we're just on this little rock for a little
Yeah.
bit, and we're lucky. And I think that there's like a metaphysical thing going on. I don't know if I'd call it a soul, but I think
Yeah. It's
things
like
like two rocks have to hit at a certain angle.
the
for us to,
interconnectedness of all things.
Right.
and I think
there's a design.
they
maybe.
have no more or less soul than we do.
They don't. Yeah. They're
What-
like,
So
yeah,
we're-
there's an internet.
So what about dogs?
Oh, total soul heads.
Yeah, I
they
mean-
dogs have souls for
Huge.
Here's the basic and I mean that like basic like white lady basic kind of thing that I think
Excuse
this
me.
yeah sorry
So fucked up.
but I think that the basic idea is like just look into their eyes, just look into your little kitty's eyes,
Do it
your
right now. If
dog's
you're
eyes.
listening at home, do it right now.
There is something there beyond just like you're a shape in front of them that gives them food.
Okay, but how about this? The idea that God is love, therefore spirituality. You can kind of extrapolate the idea that like any kind of soul is part of that. Like if God exists, then souls exist type of logic. You could say that thing you're seeing in their eyes is the connectedness of love, and that's the soul. Is the connectedness, not the thing we both possess.
Can you have love without a soul?
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, God, fuck
Jesus,
it, whatever.
Danny doesn't have a soul. I think
Wait,
we're
that's
not
what
going
we
to
figured out. I think we figured out just Danny doesn't have a soul.
That's cool.
Everyone else.
What I'm figuring out is I haven't really contemplated all this stuff in quite a while. And I think I'm just like lying to everybody when I say that I believe in any of this stuff. Because I
Yeah.
just
Look at
basically
us.
say,
We both walked it back. That's how this ends.
We know.
You're phoning it in, dude.
I think that I maybe don't think that Lily has a soul or really has anything else going on in her besides her brain and her instincts.
Look, we can continue this conversation after we've just set it up so perfectly for this game.
Let's do
that
it.
I just want to quickly do.
And before we do
Danny's
the
got this
game,
game.
Just kidding.
It's called Soul or No Soul, and it's basically just a rundown of all the major religions. And I will
like
just
that we
quiz
don't
you
put
guys.
any thought into the names of the games. It's
nor
just
should
like
we.
this is food or no food.
That's
Is this called litter box or no litter box?
And do you care out there? I just answered your question for you.
Okay,
You
Danny,
don't.
we are moving on to our next segment, which is your game. And what is the game called?
It's called Soul or No Soul.
Oh, I hit the wrong one. I'm sorry.
All right, let's start with your guys' home turf, Christianity. Now this, now, first of all,
let's start fighting on my home turf
specifically,
now. Christianity.
specifically, by the way, this game is
You
just
lost, boy.
do your holy scriptures.
Number one,
have an
I'm a
opinion.
Christian. Number two, Italian. Number three, a man.
And number 4, a pussy boy.
That's right.
Which is, I'm pussy boy number 1, so. This is just a question. Does this religion have any text, any doctrine about whether or not animals have a soul, and therefore specifically cats? So, Christianity, what do you guys think? We'll just go down the line real quick. Soul or no soul?
No soul.
no soul.
What's the question?
Does
Does
the religion-
Christianity
Does
have
Christianity
anything?
believe that a cat has a soul?
I don't believe that they're going to allow anybody but
A
really
man.
rich guys.
Yeah.
we were built in the. We
Yeah.
were made in the
Yeah.
in the style,
of
Yeah.
like
body type of
Of
Christ.
God.
of
Christ
Jesus.
himself,
Jesus was pretty fat, and he also
Yeah.
So you guys are correct. Christianity says no soul. This
All
is
right.
their text. As humans, we do not inhabit the earth alone. We live with other creations that were made by God for us to take care of.
Oh.
Animals are one of the most important creations by God. We even have pets to give us companionship, love, and joy. However, despite their consciousness, they remain
They're
soulless,
conscious.
or they do not have spirits. For this reason, when they die, they don't enter an afterlife.
They're fine with it.
Yeah, so sweet for like just a real Christian family, and they have a cat who dies, and some little girl is like, "Well, I see mittens in heaven." Unfortunately, no.
Nope.
Yeah, except that what's happening in Christian families these days is they're like, yeah, of course you'll see mittens in heaven. He's crossing the rainbow bridge.
Yeah,
And then it's like, but anyway, back to the Bible.
Like,
Gay
Mommy,
people
this wasn't
should
a
burn in hell.
poem. It's prose.
It's like, absolutely.
Definitely gay cats do not have a soul.
And that is a Danny quote.
All right, let's hit it
Pull
back.
that, let him lose a couple more jobs.
Let's bring it back to myself. Jews. What do you guys think? Do the Jews believe?
I can't believe you lost money already on this podcast. Only Danny Solomon.
Well, I mean, I lost money even before that, having to pay for this fucking equipment. Jews.
I'm gonna say
That's
Jews.
a great Jew
There
sound.
you go.
I'm gonna say
I'm Jewish, so it's okay.
I'm gonna say Jews say no.
Yeah, I'll say no. It's a pretty normie religion, so I'll say no.
Yeah, I'll say no. Judeo-Christian.
You're wrong. Yes.
Oh, I'm converting today.
The great Kabbalist explained that
Adam
all
is gonna be pissed.
he's gonna like
gonna
being
be
on the
so
right
mad.
team.
well, I mean, he's gonna be pissed he missed this bombshell.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Adam.
So Kabbalists explain that all living things, human and animal, have souls. However, not all souls are created equal. Genesis says every human being has both a nefesh and a neshama. The nefesh is defined as an animal soul, the life force, instinctual, animalistic drives. The neshama, in contrast, is the spiritual component, which distinguishes man from an animal.
I think I like that answer.
yeah, that's really
Pretty good.
Good.
All right, let's go to Islam.
People should be taking these Jews more seriously.
I think so too.
You got to listen to us.
Something I've been saying.
Stop screaming at us online. Islam, what do you guys think? Let's get ourselves in real trouble.
Islam, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I will say yes.
I'm gonna say yes. I feel
a
like
spiritual people.
I know
Definitely.
nothing about Islam. I'll say
I
yes
know
to,
that they
because I want to
really
be right about one.
I know. I read a thing that they really like. If a cat crosses your like prayer mat,
Yeah.
it's considered like good luck. and
Right.
because they are like tied to the spiritual world.
Well, it can't be that good because there are no souls.
Oh, no.
No
No
souls in Islam. In Islamic teachings, on the day of reckoning, all creatures will rise up and have justice for any wrong that was done to them,
Right.
including animals. However, only humans can be judged on their actions and go to the afterlife.
Damn it.
I think we should be judging cats more.
Yeah.
Hinduism. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think
for sure. Please
Right.
say yes. I gotta
Far-
get one.
yeah,
Gotta
okay,
get one.
that was too easy.
That would be offensive.
Was it too easy?
I think so. I mean, it's very, the gods
it's not
of cows.
it's not monotheistic.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And I say that with the utmost respect.
Oh, I think it, but I don't say it.
Yeah, they believe that the animal soul is identical to that of humans.
I don't know. I don't like that.
But the soul has to accept the limitations of the body it takes, so they can never be as intelligent as us. They were destined to become human eventually, though.
Huh.
So vegetarianism
Now,
is encouraged.
did you text this
for
to
that
yourself?
reason. I did. Yeah, this is the best place for it. Trust me.
Hold on. So they were destined to become humans?
Eventually, they will become human through the reincarnation
reincarnation.
process.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Would you want to be a cat if you were
Yes.
reincarnated?
That's what I'm-
it's like
kidding me?
Not a human.
So the
Yes.
peak, the peak
you don't
is
want to be
humanity.
you again.
I
No.
think Peak might be cat.
Right, but if the cat's like eventually going to be a human, it seems like it's.
I think it's a circle. No one's better than anyone else. It's just being a human.
What's in
You're the
the
most
circle?
conscious.
So
it's everything.
Human, cat, then like wasp.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a tsetse fly and live for 2 weeks.
Oh, that
Wait,
would
what?
stink.
Like you have to? What are you saying?
I'm
Zach?
just trying to think of the other animals that are in the circle.
Well, all of them.
I guess all of
What?
them.
But the
What are you
question,
talking about?
That's
there's-
gonna take forever.
yeah, and also like, what can it?
Oh, you don't
what-
have to move through all of it, or do
Oh,
you?
I don't
can
know
skip.
what could like a cricket do that's so good that it earns it the right to graduate to cat?
You want to find
If
out? Come-
somebody, here's what it is. It's like somebody's trying to sleep. A surgeon has a big surgery tomorrow, so you
take it
you
easy.
turn off your
You
little
take it
you
easy.
go.
How about it's the crickets that chirp every time Alice tells a joke?
Hey, God, I loved that. That was really fun and good for you, Dan.
Thanks.
Ooh, I need it.
How do you
Wait,
feel to do comedy again?
I'm realizing that we need a crickets sound effect.
Well,
I'll
yeah.
make sure to bring that one back
You
when
dropped
Adam
the ball.
comes on the show.
All right, let's just blast to the last two. Buddhism. What do you guys think? Buddhism.
Nope.
Buddhism?
Well, there's a lot of
There's a lot of hugging, a lot of
a
loving.
lot of different kinds of Buddhism.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say no. No.
Nick, you are wrong.
What?
I am
Because-
actually Buddhist.
Because the Buddhists, as Alice well knows from her many, many Buddhist spiritual teachings, no one has a soul,
Ain't no soul.
only consciousness. So therefore,
Right.
the definitions that we've created of a soul don't include Buddhism. And then finally, let's go to Mitt Romney's hometown, Mormonism. What do you
That's
guys
not
think?
Christianity.
That's an interesting
No,
one.
it's its
they've
own
got-
thing. It's its own flavor.
Mormons
Okay.
are kind of, they're basically.
That's cool.
It's sort of like Mike's Hot Honey compared to like regular honey.
Honey,
They're doing
okay.
something a little different.
Yeah, it's a little. It's some jalapeno
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
wouldn't put it in your
garlic
tea.
honey.
It's
You
hot.
know.
I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. They think the cats have a soul.
I'll say no.
Now I got to choose between you two. I'm gonna say no.
Congratulations, Zach Broussard. Yes.
Wow.
Here is the
Way to
exact
go.
line from the Book of Mormon. John saw curious-looking beasts in heaven, actually there, giving glory to God.
Oh man.
Wow.
Oh my God!
Doesn't this make
cats
Zach
service God in heaven?
They're doing what we're supposed to be doing in
Hey,
heaven,
look
which
at
is
that cat.
continuing to love God and pray to Him every day.
Hey,
and
what's going
You
on in
follow
that room?
ex-Mormon
say-
girl on OnlyFans, don't you? That's how you know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
I learned a lot about Mormonism. I think it makes the Mitt Romney leaving a dog on top of his car so much more messed
So
up.
much more
Disgusting.
messed
That dog
up.
has a soul.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up in that room over there? It's like, oh, that's where the beasts are servicing God.
No, don't go in there. There's a sock on the door handle.
There's such a difference between serving God and servicing God.
Did I say servicing? I'm sorry, but we can't
Oh,
go in there
oops,
for a
sorry.
couple hours.
It's serving, but don't go in there.
Yeah,
God
there's a
needs
few
his-
newts in there that are. Let's just say, ain't nobody gonna. I don't know. I can't
Things
remember.
are getting hot and holy in there.
Hey.
Oh, I'm back.
Way to go, Adam.
Anyway,
That was Soul or No Soul.
We didn't like the
Fantastic.
name. We did like the game.
We
that's
didn't.
right.
I think Soul or No Soul though would be a great game show on
It actually did.
on
No Soul.
ABC. Welcome back to Soul or No Soul. Like,
And you
whoa,
just show a
it's
photo
like
of a
super
guy?
Yeah, we just keep
dystopian.
bringing
everyone
people
goes,
on.
No.
I need a lifeline. I can't tell whether this guy has a soul. It's just people who've like the Unabomber and stuff like that.
It's
Really.
Grandpa's versus Babies tonight on Soul or No Soul. All right, so that was Soul or No Soul. That was good. I enjoyed the
Great.
game. I enjoyed
Thanks
the
for
game.
doing a ton of research.
I always do. To Nick's dismay.
I like it.
I
We
will say
wouldn't
there-
have a podcast.
There's
I
something
am-
about missing out on work, but also
Yeah.
turning this into work. That
I
is
love it.
interesting.
I'm picturing like a All the President's Men situation where he's deep in the stacks of the Library of Congress for this podcast.
Where's my phone?
I do assume that you slightly stress out about doing this every week.
I'm more than happy to do it. It's part of my weekly routine of doing something other than
Danny,
watching Chiefs highlight clips.
You are a cat.
You
like
are.
you're the
Thank you.
personality of it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It's yes, and it's nice that you think that's a compliment now.
I
now.
do. Being a cat would be exquisite.
That's why I had to be friends with you when I first met you. I was like, that is. I didn't have a cat of my own. I was like, I'm gonna make that guy my cat.
You did
and I
give
put
me
a collar on him.
You did used to give me haircuts.
I did. I put a collar on him. I was like, isn't
There
that
are a lot of
I go,
haircuts.
isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? You're like, that is nice.
Well, now I have a collar of my wife's on my
We
finger.
yeah, and Natalie and I together, yeah, we decided we weren't gonna microchip you. But this story, I have a story. Can I cut to it now?
Yeah,
Sure.
we're
So this
closing in.
Story.
Wait, hold on.
does-
Can I say that Natalie already micro-dicked him?
Okay, this is a story about my friendship with Danny and Natalie before, and this is a sincere story, not a comedy. Back when I lived in Rodney Street, I had Biscuit would get out all the time, and so Biscuit would do this thing where he'd go and he'd get lost, and then he's super stupid, so he would like just cry, like he'd go around the corner and like be under a box, like crying, like so this would happen every so often. And one time, this was like probably about 9 years ago, like Danny called me on the phone And this is when people used to call each other on the phone. And he was like going to tell me something that happened to him that was really nice for him. I don't know what it was, like JFL. I don't know what the fuck.
No, it wasn't that.
Well, it was something that was nice for you that happened in your career.
Yeah, that was the last time.
It was. I know. It was like 8 years ago because that was the last time that happened. So, and
I'm getting
you
married.
called me and I was crying. You're like, hello, I have a thing to tell you. And I was like, and I'm like losing my mind. And you're like, what the fuck? What's going on? And I was like, and I'm like so upset because Biscuit is gone. I can't find him. But it's like the 7th or 8th time this has happened. And Danny, not being a cat dad, doesn't understand. He's like, why are you so upset? He always comes back, whatever. And then Danny was like on the phone with me and he goes, this is the one time I've ever called you to tell you something nice happened to me and you cannot fucking stop being upset about your own thing. I'm so annoyed with you. And didn't speak to me for like a long time.
I'll do that.
What was it, Danny?
But
What were you trying to tell Alice?
I have no idea.
You don't
I
remember
can't
this,
remember
huh?
the last good thing that's happened.
Fascinating.
No. But I just wanted to tell that story because it shows how little Danny understands or understood in the past about being a cat dad and how distant he was from the idea of caring about cats as much as he now does.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure now if something happened to Merv, it would be a different story.
What?
It would be a different story.
Marv?
Right. So they're a perfect example. But I also wanted to bring it up because I feel very lucky and happy that you're still friends with me. Given what a fucking asshole I was for so long. I mean it. I'm serious.
Yeah, well,
you
guys-
and Natalie are still friends with me, even though I was a fucking dick for a very long time. And I'm very, very grateful to both of you.
Until sort of the commentary at the end, it was just really a story about Danny like not really liking cats that much.
And we should cut
The
that.
point was he was right to get upset. It was the straw that broke the camel's back of me being frankly, a very shitty friend for a long time.
Well, but
Danny loses money and work, and then immediately comes on this podcast and is outed for not really being a pussy boy.
Not until I met Marv, who changed my life
Right,
and everything about
It
my
makes you
perspective.
wonder who rescued who.
yeah.
That's true.
It does
right?
make you wonder
It
those
makes you
things.
wonder that about, and who's wearing the collar here?
Exactly.
You know,
That is, and
it makes
Yeah.
you think where's the microchip?
who's been microchipped? God microchips all of us.
Yeah.
See, the thing
Laughs.
you said at the beginning of Soul or No Soul, you were like, in other religions, as though we'd all been talking as though we have our own religion.
Oh,
not
we do.
Pussy
Were you
boys.
from you guys were saying that like you
Pussy boysism.
You're like
Yeah.
I've just been trained to feel like
That's a tax
we have a
thing.
soul. We should start a religion, but I do think you guys were coming from an Anglo-Christian point of view.
Of course.
And
We're always
Alice,
talking
of course,
about Jesus.
clearly a Buddhist.
What?
Yeah.
Is that something about my outfit?
It's just
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
like all
really
weird and
ratty.
shit.
Like a
Clearly,
potato
you don't
sack,
care about how you
know.
look or any worldly
Your hair's all
successes.
fucking frizzy,
Yeah.
like, like a Buddhist.
Well, I think that's very sweet that you told that story, Alice. And Danny, who doesn't ever get anybody telling them that he is liked or anything like that, feels like his heart grew sizes today.
Yeah.
Not 3, just
No,
a
a size.
A size
little bit.
1+.
It's mostly because of your diet. You do have to see your doctor, which is your worst nightmare. We all know that.
I hate the doctor, and so does Marv. That's what we have in common.
Yeah, that makes total
That
sense.
little soul
That
having
makes
boy I
total
love.
sense. Yeah, I feel like Natalie has to put you in a crate to figure it out.
Oh.
She's made this joke before too.
Let's do our cat of the week.
This is a story about a 16-year-old cat that survives the Tennessee tornado while owner was out of town. And this is there was a series of really insane weather that just went through Tennessee. I don't know if you've heard of Tennessee. It's
Yeah.
a state just north of Mexico.
Mexico.
And it's a southern suburb of New York.
Sure.
And basically terrible weather came through, tornado. A lot of people died. But this
3.
is not a podcast about people.
I mean, they didn't have souls anyway.
This
so
is
who
a
gives shit?
podcast about amazing cats. So basically, an aging cat managed to survive last week's devastating tornadoes, and the feline is back with its owner, who was out of town, so alive when the destructive storm hit. Sandy, a 16-year-old cat, was found curled up inside some bedding in Madison, where the tornado
Madison, Tennessee.
where a tornado killed 3 people.
Wow.
So basically,
Are they sure the tornado killed them? Because they could
It
just
is
check for
interesting.
slashes.
Cat's like,
It's
yeah,
half of-
y'all see that tornado
Came
that flew
through
in
it.
here? It was
Didn't,
crazy.
Didn't cause any destruction, but I guess it caused these people's faces to get eaten. That's weird.
It was like a tiny one. It just came from the bathroom right into the living room and then across the hall.
Well, what I think is this is how the cat was discovered. Erica Williams of Nashville, who works as a volunteer at Hands On Nashville, I don't know if that matters, was scrolling on Facebook when she noticed a friend's video and thought she saw an animal in the debris.
Oh my God, true detective over
Yeah,
here.
True Detective. So a lot of you guys are thinking about quitting Facebook.
Here's one reason.
If I can remember my password, I'd be
I
on
mean,
there.
if I had a job at a place with enough resources like Hands On,
That's true.
whatever the
want-
fuck that is.
Yeah.
I want to also say that I just saw that the cat is 16 years old. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that was really... It
Not-
makes you think that what are the next few years going to be for this cat?
It clearly wasn't her time. She needs to be on Earth for some purpose.
Yeah.
The
Whatever
purpose
that
was to
is.
be swept away in a tornado, and she
Yeah.
just blew it.
It was supposed to be a flood. I'm waiting.
Well, what's that cat's name?
Sandy. Give a big shout out to Sandy.
Sandy,
Shout out.
this one's for you. Okay?
There you go.
Take
I
care
hope
of
you
your
like
owner.
that.
Yeah. Did you like that?
Take that home.
It would be great if this sound is just it's like the word like football or something
Yeah.
for a cat,
Yeah,
or
we'll
like
never
a
know what they
peanut
hear.
or,
Yeah.
but who knows? We like it. We like the sound. Well, I think that's the show. Alice,
Yeah.
thank you for being our very first guest.
Yes.
How does it
Fuck
feel?
yeah. So good. So
Incredible
triumphant.
guest.
I
Incredible
can there's so many people that are in our friend group that I can lord this over.
Yeah.
Who also have cats.
Definitely.
There are some people who want to be on this podcast that will never be on this podcast.
It's so cool.
We have a list.
We'll
I
talk about
love
it off
being-
pod.
It feels great for me. I've always wanted to be picked first for something.
Yes,
and this
and-
is the only time.
And
that's
now
happened.
you can officially call yourself a pussy boy. So
oh my
there we go.
God, huge
There
if
it is.
true. I won't do that, but thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug? This will be out in a couple weeks. So-
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God, I gotta get something together by then.
I would say the beginning of the year.
I'm
This will
going
be
to
out.
Colorado. So
Okay. To perform?
yeah, actually.
Is it in January?
Weirdly. It is in January.
What's the
Okay.
date?
Oh,
What's a place they could find that date?
I don't have the dates up on my website yet for no other reason than I'm lazy.
Right.
But they're there, and I'll be in Vail. I'll be in Denver. I'll be in other suburbs around Colorado. I think the second week of January. Also, please subscribe to my podcast, Mostly Fans.
Mostly fans.
And please, this is mostly what I want you to do. Come to Twitch and hang out with me and my cats on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. PST and Fridays at 2 p.m. PST. I play games. The cats are there. It's great.
Listen, what I want you to do is if you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener and you haven't subscribed to this podcast, make sure you subscribe to it on wherever you're listening. And if you have a cat and you want to give us a shout-out, the best way to do that is to give our podcast 5 stars, preferably on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, name your cats, and we will shout them out. Thank you so much for listening, and meow.
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 We did it.
I didn't mean any of that shit that I said.
What?
Oh.